Hey tubers! Wally back at you. I've been watching RC Guy Garage, and he inspired me to make a video about my Maximus. And let me quickly show you my MT80. He was driving his V5 arrma kraton, and he broke his wing. And I was like, dude, the wing is there to save the body. You see this is my MT80, and this wing is very flexible. And you see it's all busted. It's always been that way. I had never bothered to replace it. You can see the mounts here. I've replaced those. I'm not even sure where I got those aluminum things from, but I kind of made them work. But this is my MT80. I love her. And this is my shredder 6S. Love that baby too. With my D-boot, what do you call that? Notorious wheels there. Those are brand new. I haven't even used those yet. But yeah, I love my shredder too. But today we're talking about my DHK Maximus. Now, most of you probably don't know what the Maximus is. You probably never even heard of DHK. When they first came out with this car, they offered it for a deal for $300. I picked it up, and I found out, I found out quickly that this car, it quickly breaks. You're constantly repairing it, and that gets annoying, as all you in the RC hobby probably know. So I had to beef up my Maximus so it would stop breaking. Look at that nut. It looks a little different. That looks probably like what you're supposed to see, what you normally see. Show you the body. I put magnets on the bottom. I put Gorilla Tape and boot goo, and I got lights wired to it. It's kind of crazy, guys. Excuse me, I'm filming with my phone. I don't do too many videos anymore, but RC Guy Garage got me to thinking I should put a video about my Maximus. I'll show you my upgrades. The upgrades to keep it from breaking. Because I found out that I quickly would break my top of my front diff case because it does backflips and smashes upside down. And all this force on this body mount right here goes onto the shock towers and snaps the top of the diff case off. I found this brace online. Good luck finding one because I had trouble finding it. It was in Japan and I couldn't read the description or nothing on it, but I saw a picture of it. I knew that's what I had to have. I had to order it twice to actually get it. But that stopped me from breaking my front diff case. And we'll go back to the back of it first before I show you the center diff. I upgraded the rear diff case to aluminum. So I was stripping out the rear diff, the gears and everything. So it's indestructible now. The diff inside is aluminum with the stock gears, but the diff itself, instead of being plastic, is aluminum. And I got the aluminum case as well. Aluminum control arms. Those are kind of a little overkill, I admit, but they are so pretty. The aluminum shocks it came with, and it's funny how you order these aftermarket parts, and the colors like exact. They did a great job of the what do you call that? Ionization or whatever they call that. The speed controller, I believe that came from my shredder. That was my shredder's stock 4S ESC. I believe the stock ESC in this burnt up on some bad batteries that smoked the ESC. Now for the center diff, I was smoking the center diff gears too. So I made an arrma kraton center diff fit in my DHK Maximus. You basically got to drill new holes for it, and you use both the arrma front and back center diff mounts. And you can see I should have got the better one where the mount slides in and out. I got the stock one, so I ended up cutting this the other day just to make it easier to get the engine and the pinion out. But this allows me to put a different engine and pinion on this engine, because originally, see if I can find it, this thing came with an engine clamp system like that. If any of you have a Zombie or a Maximus, you know what I'm talking about. This clamp was what held the motor in. And that doesn't allow you to change motors. especially not one with this big of a can size. This motor came from my MT80. It's a 2500 kV motor that's made for 4S. I think you can run 6S out of it, which I have before, but it got really hot. It didn't like it, and I didn't want to ruin my motor. So this car, I do have run this on 6S. It's quite nutty on 6S, but my other two cars are 6S, so I have some 2-cell batteries, so I got this one set up on 4S, and 4S is just fine for this. The Maximus doesn't come with a rear wing, and I kind of decided I didn't want a rear wing on it, although I did get the rear wing mounts, as you can see right here. This is the rear wing mount for the Zombie. It fits on the back of the Maximus. And the whole point of this wing mount is just because it's a brace from the tower, the shock tower, down to the bottom of the diff. Even though I have the aluminum diff, so it's probably invincible anyways, this just adds a little more security, makes it invincible. You see I got a screw with some washers right here? It's because I put magnets on the bottom of my body. I was trying to see if I could use magnets to hold my body on. Well, it works fine when you're just cruising around, but once you hit some bumps really hard, the body will fall off. As you can see in the body, I put magnets. So, I mean, it helps line up the body when you're putting it on and off, but it doesn't hold the body on. You still got to use clips. And my next tip about body clips, you see right here, I solder pieces of wire to the body clips and put shrink tubing over the ends to make it look neat. And when you put your body clips on, you can just pull them off by holding on to the wire. And it helps you keep from losing your body clips. A little neat trick. I saw someone on YouTube do that. That's not my invention. I just stole it from YouTube. You can see my controller. It took 8 AA batteries. I'm like, no, that's not good. Because I think I have 8 AA batteries left. They're rechargeable. I have to keep swapping them back and forth. Well, I had these from a mini Losi, 2 batteries, so I hooked them up together in series to make 20 volts. And so now my controller works using those batteries instead of AA's. I wired it up to it, and I use XT60 connectors on everything. I don't use Dean's connectors. Dean's are horrible. Choose whatever connector you like, but don't choose Dean's. But it works fine with these, and when it goes dead, I just charge them back up. All right, can't lose. I know that the batteries don't quite fit well in there. I guess you could probably buy a battery to fit in there. But I'm cheap, and I use what I have, and I had those, so I used them. I love soldering. Once you learn how to solder, you want to solder everything in the world. I'll show you my soldering gun. It's a beast. The Radio Shack with a trigger. This sucker gets hot in like 20 seconds. And when you let go of the trigger, it cools off. You don't have to worry about plugging it in, waiting for it to get hot. This sucker gets hot real quick. I love it. Best soldering iron I ever bought. Get yourself one of these, and you just clean the tip off in there. It's like steel wool in there, whatever that is. You just clean the tip of your soldering iron in there. Once you heat it up, stick it in there and twirl it around a little bit and cleans your soldering iron off. Another good thing you can get is a battery balancer. This, you plug your battery in through the what do you want to call those? Balance ports, I think I call them. And you can balance your battery. You can discharge your battery. And it probably does even more than that. I forget what else this thing does. But to be honest, I just use it to balance cells. Because sometimes you get cells that are out of balance. You can use your, see on my Venom charger, I suggest you get a good charger, not a cheap junky one. And you can do just about anything on it. I can charge a car battery. My flashlight, the plug in it stopped working, so I hooked up a XT60 connector to the battery inside of it. And I'm guessing it's a NIMH battery. I call it Nymph. And so I set my charger on Nymph, and it plugs it in, and you can charge it at, I don't know, 0.5 amps. You shouldn't charge it very quickly. Charge it slower the better. But I can recharge my flashlight with my battery charger from my car. Once you learn how to solder, you can solder anything, fix anything. I use fishing line. You see I strap my tires with fishing line. You can also see I made some metal studs out of screws, and there's nuts on the inside of the washer. I gorilla tape the inside of the tire, and then I put nuts and bolts through it. And these are kind of like my homemade studs, although they're not sharp. But they still help get traction in the snow. They shoot some snow around. But I used a string to strap them because they were kind of ballooning. Although I put these in the back this time. These are actually supposed to go on the front. I kind of did an experiment whether should it be better having the studs in the middle or should I offset them like this. To be honest, I don't think it really matters too much. I guess if I did it again, I'd put them all in the middle. But yeah, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. But this car, I beefed it up so it can bash. I have 2 skateboard ramps. I put them together and do jumps in the winter and smash it. Smash it and bash it, brother. This thing's invincible. I have found that the stub axles that the spacers hook onto, they like to bend. I found that the stub axles from my shredder fit it. I got one right over here. These stub axles, they go through they go through the hub in the adapter fits on for the 17mm to hold your wheels on. The ones for the Red Cat shredder are stronger and they don't bend. The ones for the DHK Maximus, they're weak and they bend and they're junk. So I found to use Red Cat ones. They work way better. So yeah, so I improved my Maximus, excuse me. And, you know, I can see I've modified the battery trays and stuff. I can't even remember what they look like now. It's been so long since it was stock. I got the arrma center diff. Brother, get yourself some fluids to put in there. No silicones. I have a T-Max nitro. It's really dusty, but I got a bunch of aftermarket stuff on it. A brand new 2.5 motor. It's fun. You know, it makes some real noise. It's a pretty fun car. But where I live, nitro's hard to get. And charging a LiPo battery is a lot easier. So those are my RCs. But basically, I just wanted to show you how I beef this thing up so you can't break it. And I also I got these online. They're 8mm axle studs. And I took out the bearings that went in the hubs back here. And I bored it out. And I got bearings that fit on these stub axles. So they got 8mm thick stub axles instead of the 6mm that these come with. Even the Red Cat shredder comes with 6mm stub axles. So if you get extensions for your car, you can't get 8mm ones. You gotta get 6mm ones, and they bend because they're smaller. So I made the 8mm ones fit, and I cut the drive shaft and welded the ends from the DHK onto the ends of these axles so they fit into the drive cup. I don't know if you can even see that. See, I welded the ends on both sides. So those ain't stock. And I have stock hubs. If I want to go back to stock, I can. But by having the 8mm studs, stub axles, it makes it a lot stronger. These are a lot stronger than what it came with stock. So I did a lot of modifications. I used a MIG welder at work to weld those ends on. If you get access to someone who can TIG weld, they're probably better off TIG welding, but either way, it's done. It worked. And I had to flip the hubs around the other way, so I had to lengthen the top nut. That's why you can see that ugly weld on there. Same on this side. I had to make these longer because I flipped those hubs around. And I bored them out, I think, with a Dremel, I believe. Yeah. So you can see these are the stock tires for the Maximus, but the rims are Dick Seppic monster truck rims. They're beadlock rims. They're a little dirty. I admit they're dirty. And the tires are glued onto the rims because I tried doing it without glue and it doesn't like it. It rips them right off, especially on 6S. But the rims are kind of cool looking. I like them. They're very wide. You can see the rims are wider than the tires. They're very wide. It gives it a nice wide stance. But yeah, so I've improved this thing, and you know, the arrma center diff, probably one of the best things I did for this thing. That and these aluminum braces up here, because I kept breaking the top of that front gearbox off. You know, and the rest is history. But guys, if you're gonna bash in the winter and the cold weather, improve your car. Get one car so you can beat the snots out of it, and keep your good ones for the summer. See, these are waiting for summer, or these spring. Listen, maybe if I get a 40-degree day, I might take it out with no snow. Because right now, We got snow everywhere. I live in the North Country, and we got at least a foot of snow out there. There's no way I'm driving an RC car out in that. So, yep, y'all stay confident but humble. And the RC guy, dude, man, thank you for the inspiration to make this video. Y'all stay confident but humble. Peace.